Hi everyone, and welcome to the Hart Space. And I am so excited. I have Karen Dahlman, author of The Spirit of Creativity, Embodying Your Souls Passion. And I can't tell you guys enough how thankful I am to this woman, because this has been such a headache trying to get my technical glitches out of the way to have her on air with me. But she's here, and she's been so patient, and so everyone gets so excited to talk to Karen Dahlman.
Thank you. No, but patience is a virtue, isn't it?
True, but it can also be a little bit frustrating. Actually, that's a good question. You were very, very calm throughout this, and in your book you talk about embodying the chaos.
Absolutely, and I see chaos as not necessarily chaos as we would see it. In chaos theory, very interesting enough, which is a scientific theory that talks about if you go far enough out into the chaos, there's actually order to the chaos. So I really trust that when things change, things don't quite go our way, There's a reason for that all. There really is order to that part behind it that seems chaotic or unfathomable or issues or problematic. It really isn't that way at all. There's order to it. So I see it that way with what we're doing as well.
Is that almost kind of like you feel like there's a reason for everything?
Yeah, that's a great way of saying it. A very simple, well-put way of saying it. There's a reason for everything. Everything happens. Everything's connected. Everything is based on synchronicity.
Absolutely. And you actually talk about, that's a big thing. Obviously, as everyone there knows, I talk about the law of attraction. I'm a coach for the law of attraction. And you actually address that a lot in your book. And I'm curious as to your journey into the law of attraction, or if you even call it that, if it's something else, and how that influenced your book writing. I'm assuming writing a book is a very, very chaotic endeavor.
It is a daunting task. It does require a lot of focus and determination, as well as tenacity to bite off and chew what you bite off, because it can be a lot, as I know because I'm writing a couple of books right now. I do talk about the law of attraction, not those words in the book, and I purposely stayed away from it just to use other words that I might use that seem a little more along the path of where I've been. So I really believe we do create our own reality. And we create that every day by the feelings we embody, by the thoughts we hold, by the actions we put out, which is what LOA, the law of attraction, talks about. I think the most important part of attracting what you want in your life is what you feel. Feelings to me are the energy that's moving around. It's energy in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. And what that does is when we're moving it through our lives, through our body, through our feelings, through our thoughts, we are actually putting out a vibration, if you will, if you want to call it that, a frequency that signals the same type of frequency to come back, to be in our life. And I find that if we can work with that energy and motion, we can actually affect great change in our life and make great things happen, as well as get through the hard times, such as the things that don't quite go the way we want them to go. And we all know that happens quite often in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then again, I will say we do create that too. We create that in our life. We pull that to us so we can learn our lessons.
That's a good point, because if we're going to take ownership that we are the creators of our life, then we have to take ownership that why am I creating this chaos? Or maybe it's all about perception, but what are your words on that? Is it something that we actually are creating, or is it something out? Is the chaos influencing us? Are we influencing the chaos? Is it outside of us, or is it completely in control of us? By us, I should say.
That's a great question and a great way to look at it. I think it's both, and let me break this down a little bit more. I think we find ourselves in certain situations, and we can call those situations chaotic or problematic or issues, and we find ourselves in situations that are not necessarily free-floating out there, but they're already being created by the people in their own little worlds. Everybody creates their own world, and as we go through our life and we're much holding those same kinds of thoughts and feelings, or we think, oh my God, nothing ever works out, I can't get it right, I'm stupid, then we, in a way, might as well just be wearing that scarlet letter on our forehead. As you remember from the Scarlet Letter, the adulteress, because what it does is it's really bringing that to us. We are stamped with that letter, with that vibration that brings it to us. So in that sense, it's within us. And I feel like it's within us for a reason. And if we look at everything for, okay, so things are going so well and I'm feeling pretty crummy inside, what's that about? And so the spirit of creativity, embodying your soul's passion, is looking at these barriers and blocks that can be inside us and see them as our friends, see them as our calling to come to our true nature, to come back into heart, to come back into center.
Wow. And okay, and I want to get into that too because a lot of it at the beginning, you talk about the different forms of, I guess therapy is the best word. You use art therapy. You talked about that a lot in the beginning of the book, and how you used it to heal and to help people bring out what's within them. And I want to use this opportunity because I'm sure there's many people out there that are going through a chaotic time, or we have stress and a lot of change, and it can be, and especially if you're alone, it can tear you, it can break you down. It really can if you don't know how to express it. So how would you, if I came to you and I'm telling you all this stuff is going wrong and I feel like everything's out of order and everything is just so chaotic, help me, what would you recommend me do to basically recenter myself?
Well, I think sometimes we look at these things that are going on around us, or the way we're feeling, as that's the end all. That is our block in life. That's our statement about who we are. It truly isn't. It's just a message. If we can see all of this energy and stuff happening in our life, and there's a lot of chaos out there. You're absolutely correct. It's so prevalent in our community, in our culture, in our world, in our environment, across the seas, in our nation, on our earth. And so if we can look at that, that is not a stamp or it's written in concrete. It's just, it's right now saying, look at this message. This is what's going on. Let's hear what this message has to say.
Yeah.
Now, this is when art therapy, for me, and my practice of art therapy really comes into play. If we can look at everything that's inside us coming out, expressing, again, the energy and motion as a message, and we learn a way to look at it. And I like to do it visually with the art, because the art can't lie. It can't talk back to me. It has no voice other than the image it presents. And therefore, I can't sit there and talk in therapy around in circles and avoid the issue and say, well, but this is bad and this is going on and this is no good. Instead, let's see what it looks like on paper and allow that image to speak to us. And I have many techniques, as you saw when you read the book yourself, to go into this space deeper. And if we just look at all this chaos in life as a message, I think we'll start to heed the message and then learn from that and not sweep it under the carpet, not cast it away, not make it into the demon that it's bad, but see it as it's all here for a reason, for a purpose. Let us hear what that purpose and reason may be.
Absolutely. I totally resonate with everything you're saying, that there's a message in that. And that's what you did with your art therapy. You talked about how they would create these things. And that's actually, I want to touch on the cover of your book, because that you did that. You drew that.
Yes,
and
here it is.
I know, I love it. I love the symbol, and we have like you pointed out, we have a full moon tonight, which is very cool, very feminine, and which I'm all about. But you have the symbol of the moon, and then you have the power center. How did that come out of you? What was the process for that, and what does that mean to you?
Well, that image, we discussed this before, it was something I painted way back in 1992. I was getting ready to go and do the next morning a presentation, I should say a workshop in the federal penitentiary system in Bastrop, Texas. It's a level 5, so it's maximum security. We had to go through all these different gates. So here I am with my art and my art materials and going into this prison system. But I wanted to come in and show the men there what, to me, creativity looks like. And I do call this person on here the spirit of creativity. To me, it's kind of a masculine form, but really it's androgynous. And the whole idea is that we receive with our left side, and these beautiful string of flower-like stars are coming into the heart, and we give out with our right side. So there's this whole circuitry, and I was very much aware of this male-female balance within ourselves, which is something I still write about today. But I wanted to go in there with this idea of what it means to me, and then ask them, what does it mean to you? And in terms of when you're creative, you're actually taking responsibility for yourself. You're actually going within and
Yeah.
looking at yourself and going without and showing it. So it's a responsibility you take to communicate with yourself. And I think people, especially people that are in prison, there's a lack of responsibility a lot of times in why they're there. And so through the psychology program, they allowed me to go in there to do these courses where we could teach self-responsibility, self-control, being able to look at themselves, new tools for understanding some of the chaos, here we go, chaotic feelings they may be having inside. And I just chose to use the theme of creativity so they can see it as there's messages again in your creative chaos. In your creative chaos, there's messages. And so that's what that book is. And that's what the picture on the book is about. Is from my work I did with the prison system.
Yeah. So you went into the prison systems and you were having them do art?
Absolutely, absolutely. We would do art and talk about art in relationship to what they were feeling, to what they wanted to change in their life, as well as their own spiritual development. How could art help them transform spiritually? How could it help them find a sense of connection to all, and that there's consequences to our actions. There's consequences to what we think. Again, this gets into the law of attraction. There's consequences to what we believe about ourselves inside.
What kind of messages? And I'm so curious because when you get to that point in your life where you're experiencing imprisonment, physical imprisonment,
Yeah.
what was coming out of those sessions? What were you seeing? And more so than that, what kind of transformations were you seeing afterwards?
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things in prison that you see a lot is that they're going to behave well because they all, first of all, they all didn't do anything wrong. They're not guilty, somebody else did it, and they want to get out. So you have to break through that. But what I did see, when people could stick with it long enough, they were able to start getting in touch with emotions. And they would, for the first time, maybe start writing about, even expressing it's a little harder in terms of like maybe crying. I saw a little bit of that as some tears, but actually beginning to write along with their art, do some journaling, and be more involved with their inner world. Not cutting that part off and realizing that if they can have a voice here, maybe they can learn to express that voice a little better out here. Yeah. So the psychology department there supported this. It was a very almost like a very liberal program to have at a prison system, but it was unique in it that we had to come in through the substance abuse program. So we worked with people who already knew they had an issue and wanted to work on that, reasons for their drinking, reasons for their overdosing, reasons for their using of drugs. And so they allowed us to come and show what we could do with the different media. And my specialty was using the art to do this, which is what I used in my private practice with just many different populations, not just people in prison.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing going through your book. As I mentioned, I love the visualizations, the meditations, and even reading your book, even really thinking about art and expressing art. It's what I call, obviously my site's the Hart Space. This channel is called the Hart Space, and it's a play on my last name. But what it really is about your heart space and getting inside your emotions and getting inside that spirit of creativity. And it's really about accessing the bigger part of you, the part of you that the eternal part of you, the seat of your soul, as it's been deemed before. And that's kind of what the message I got with your book is. It's really getting you. Yes, the channel is art and art therapy, but it helped me get into my heart space. And so I'm wondering, this was obviously intentionally written to help people access that spiritual part of themselves. I mean, would you say that's correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If the windows are if our eyes are the windows to our soul, then I really believe that our heart is the doorway to our soul. I'm with you. I think that is the seat of our emotion. People always talk about feeling heart-centered, oh, my heart, oh, I love from the heart. It's all these metaphors and phrases we use around the heart. It is where we feel, and in fact we have a lot of people that suffer heart attacks and heart disease. It's very prevalent, brokenheartedness. So the heart is where I do believe that the seat of our soul is, the doorway to our soul is. It is that place where we can learn to open up and communicate. It's also the place where we often will close and put those bars around ourselves. Talk about prison, talk about self-imprisonment. We will cut ourselves off at the heart at the extent of even having disease, like I was talking about heart disease or the brokenheartedness, because of the fear of the pain that we do feel. And so I wrote this book with that in mind.